Shut up.
It's cold down here. It's like 80 degrees upstairs. It's cold down here.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The angry little elf. This is the Tapped In Podcast, the podcast for beverage distributors that want to empower their sales team to drive business results. Listen up and welcome back to another episode of the Tapped In Sales Podcast, your podcast for beer distributors by beer distributors. I am your hostess with the mostest, Bud, here with Moneyball, Ross, and Data Mike, back again for another episode. Mike is back from the Caribbean, not necessarily super tan, but a little tan.
That took the goatee appearance away a little bit.
Did you wear hats or did you sunscreen? What'd you do, or hide?
I was indoors most of the time. Well, during the day I was indoors.
He was indoors eating, Ross, is what he was doing.
I was working, Ross. We're working.
Can you believe that he ordered a octopus appetizer, Ross?
Well, I didn't
There's no
order
chance
it.
in hell that he ordered it.
Yeah, if anybody listening knows me, you know dang well I did not order that. But the client that I was with ordered a bunch of appetizers, and you can't say no. So I tried it. I actually had like 4 bites of it.
Octopus
Well,
is
you know
good.
what's funny is the original plan for the show was there was going to be a segment called Mike eating weird foods around the world.
There was supposed to be that segment. I thought we forgot about that segment because it wasn't going to be my favorite, but this would definitely fall right in there with the octopus. The flavor was amazing. You know, it was prepared so good. It was just the texture that I
Who
couldn't.
are you? You were afraid to eat ramen.
But now you guys take me to ramen places, right?
He's growing
No.
up, Ross.
Yep.
I mean, noodles and broth. I mean, you can't get much safer than that, but you were terrified.
I think we ordered 3 appetizers, and none of those would have been anything I would have ordered. But that was the most exotic one.
I'm sure it's better than octopus we had in Vegas, bud.
That one was like, octopus is good, but it's got to be cooked well. If it's cooked well, it is good. If it's cooked poorly, it's not good. So you got to be like,
Ironically,
most
Vegas
food
actually
is.
has pretty decent seafood, even though you're in the middle of the desert in the middle of the country, just because of the supply chain.
They ship so much in. They get so much going on.
Yeah.
That's probably more than likely why. So, Mikey, did you have fun in the Caribbean? You did a little extracurricular time as well over spring break, I believe.
Yeah, it was great. Was obviously down there for work, but it took a few extra days to kind of hang out and check it out. And yeah, it's beautiful. Different life down there for sure. You know, the vibe is just completely different. Obviously the views are too, and just doing business down there is so different than we're used to here in the States. It was kind of a wild experience for sure from the business aspect of it, because I mean, getting goods to any of the islands in the Caribbean is kind of a hard feat. And then when you're dealing with beer and wine and liquor, out of stocks is a big thing, right? And it's a major factor. So just learning, the different ways that they do business down there, learning a lot of the culture, got it out and, had some, what was it? Painkillers. Painkillers are a big thing.
Painkillers are the best.
They are
so
my
good.
new favorite.
How'd they make them there?
So it was rum. It was coconut cream.
Mm-hmm. Little nutmeg.
Pineapple juice.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't remember what else. I did steal the recipe. I have it, so I'll be making
Usually a little bit of nutmeg ground on top too.
Nutmeg right on top for sure. Yeah. No, they were great.
Besides that, how are the drinking patterns, selling patterns different? I was excited because I was like, hey, we're going international. It's not really international. They use dollars in their part of the U.S., but yeah, we'll call it international.
Yeah, it's different in the way of your consumer base changes every single week, almost every day, because they rely so heavily on tourism and cruise ships.
Mm.
So, one day in particular, the beach that we were at, the hotel that we were at had a beach, and for like 2 or 3 days, handful of people, nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden it looked like the scene out of John Candy's Summer Rental. Remember that movie, Summer Rental, where people are just walking on top of one another down the beach? It seriously reminded me so much of that. And we're like, what in the hell is going on around here? Well, 5 cruise ships came in that day. and they all just jump in taxis and they go different places. One of them was Icon of the Seas, so I got to see that thing in person. And
that's the biggest one in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, I have a picture of it side by side next to like a Caribbean cruise ship, and it's just incredible. It's like 2 Caribbean cruise ships. It's crazy.
Then you video of it. Have you seen a video of it passing by like a beach and it like looked like a tidal wave? It pulled the water back.
Did it?
And brought it back in again because it was displacing so much water that it changed the water line.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't get to see it, out to sea or coming in, but I saw it at port. And yeah, it's just mind blowing how gigantic that is. And that thing, I think it was at 7,600 passengers around that one, where the rest were like 4,000 or 5,000.
It's over 7,000 people are on that boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's crazy is when you put it next to the Titanic, how it dwarfs it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Looks like the Titanic looks like a tugboat.
You have all these people invading your territory, and they're from all over the world with totally different palates, and so that was interesting. And you have different groups of people coming and going, and where do they go, what do they drink? Definitely a crazy experience.
Well, welcome back. You gotta love it.
Yeah,
and your trip back.
In the best part.
Sorry, go ahead.
The best part is that they drive on the left, but their cars are just like ours, where the driver's seat is on the left. So it really trips you up. I mean, if the driver's seat's on the right, you're like, yeah, okay, right, and your mind just adapts to it. But when the driver's seat's still on the left, you're just like,
you're not driving in the middle of the road.
What side of the road am I supposed to be on?
Yep.
And you're on this tiny little island, and the roads are probably the size of a car and a half. I'd say a car and a half. And there's really no posted speed limits, and you're going up and down because the whole island is just mountains, right? I mean, they're all either going straight up or straight down or making a 90-degree corner, and people are doing like 40. You're cruising up, and all of a sudden a car comes flying by, and you had to look at the sticker on the windshield because there's a sticker on the windshield saying stay left. So I had to look at the arrow every time, like, am I on the right side of the road? Yep, I'm good. But it was that was crazy.
Well, good thing we didn't rent you a car down there.
We did.
We did? Did you drive it?
You did. I had to have one on one of the islands because, I had to get around. So, I drove.
You drove on the wrong side of the road?
Yeah. Yep. When I arrived there, it was the weekend. So that was personal time. So, I rented one just for personal time to get around. And that was within like 30 minutes of being on the island. And I was like, oh, shit, buckle up. Here we go.
Now, here's the other piece. Was it a manual or was it automatic?
It was automatic.
That's good.
Yeah. He would know how to drive a manual anyway. Oh, yeah. Mikey's a good driver.
My first.
Yeah, but you throw that in the mix. You drive in a manual on the, well, I guess in Britain, you're on the other side of the car too.
Yeah. Yeah. My first 3 cars were a stick. So I could have managed that.
It's easy when it's on the, like what Mikey said, it's on the left side, but you're driving on the wrong side. So then you're on the outside of the road, right, Mikey, instead of in the center?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's
Jamie
the hard part.
Jamie's in the passenger seat, and she's
in the center. Yep.
Every time a car came by, she's like, I feel like I'm going to hit it. I feel like I'm going to hit it. I'm like, because you're used to being on the other side of the car.
Exactly. In England, it's easy. In England, it's easy to make the switch because your seat is on the other side. All you do is just make sure you're in the middle, and it's fine.
Speak for yourself, but no.
It's so easy, Ross.
No, I refuse to do it. My buddy ripped the side of the car off in one of like a hedgerows in like the Cotswolds. He brought it back. It's like, maybe they won't notice.
Maybe they won't notice. Oh, it's like that Jackass episode when he put the car in the dirt in the demolition derby and brought it back to the rental car place.
Even when it's on the same side, man. I drove in like Portugal. I pulled out of the airport. I'm like, damn, it's game on because you enter like a 9-way roundabout.
It's incredible. I've driven that same roundabout. It is incredible. When we got out of the roundabout,
you're like welcome
circles until you merge out, or what?
We got out.
It's welcome to the Thunderdome. I mean, you're right into a 9-way roundabout right out of the airport.
Yep. So we get out. We're in a 9-passenger Sprinter van. Sarah and Bud are driving up front. I'm driving. We got other people in the back. And I'm like, Sarah's like, we got to go that way. And it's 4 lanes away. And he's like, what are we going to do? He's like, we're going to go around again until we get off of this roundabout. And we went around twice until we got out of there. But Ross, I haven't been in that same Thunderdome right away. You come out of that rental car garage, you get dumped right into it.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chaos. So much fun.
Speaking
much
of
fun.
chaos and being thrown right in the Thunderdome, you guys might not know this. Another fun fact about Mike is I like the ocean about as much as I like experimenting with food. I do not like the ocean. I do not like the creatures that are in the ocean. Therefore, I very rarely go any deeper than my knees. If I can't see what is there, I will not go in. And this is another thing Jamie always, pokes at me about. But she wanted to go on our weekend. She wanted to go snorkeling. We went on a snorkel tour, right, where we got to see all kinds of sea turtles. That was awesome. That was great. Very deep in the ocean. Wasn't very fond of that. And then we came into like a coral reef, and it was really like there was probably a foot of water, maybe 2 feet of water. So, they're like, hey, you need to have a life jacket on so you can float at the very top of the water because you don't want to obviously touch the reef or the sea life. So we get in, it's just our guide, and there's four of us, and we're kind of around in like this open spot of the reef, and he's pointing out all the fish, and he's like, oh yeah, you see those black fish right there, they're very territorial, like they don't like anybody coming by them, they will attack you, but they don't have teeth so that you won't feel it. I'm like, okay. And then there was squid, there's all these weird sea creatures around. Well, then everybody leaves me in this little like thing, and they swim over the coral reef to where like there was probably 4 inches, looked like 4 inches, and I'm just sitting there panicking. And I'm like, they left me. I can't get out of here. I'm not swimming over those black fish. I'm not swimming over all of these sea creatures. But I had to do it, and I did it. And then I got to the other side, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why didn't we swim around it? Why did we go over it?
Mike, just think how boring your life would be had you not joined BXP.
Exactly.
I know,
Yep.
yeah. You guys are
You'd
really
be eating chicken tenders and sitting in your cabin.
Selling
Yeah.
cereal.
All right, should we pivot the beer? Come on.
Oh yeah, what are we going to talk about?
I love it. Well, we could have a section, Ross, or in the podcast is just about stress Mikey out, right? Or Mikey grows.
Pushing my limit.
That's something new. Mikey does do something new with Mikey this week.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I'd be brave enough to do what you did in terms of driving on those islands.
that was
Oh,
that was
you
really
could
great.
do it. You could do it, Ross. You could do it.
I mean, the question is, which is worse, driving in Rome or driving on the islands on the other side?
We got a couple of other. It'd be driving in Rome for sure.
That's scary.
Rome is terrifying. So we got a couple other things on the menu today. We're gonna kind of bounce around on some new stuff again today. And on the docket first is gas prices continue to go up. Let's check this out because this is a big pull on prices in general, or on consumers, everything else. Gasoline prices. I wanted to look at the diesel one because this is the long-term diesel chart from 2008 until 2026. We can see a spike all the way back here in 2022. The last time it was 581. But if we zoom in on this, we can actually shrink this chart down. Oops, that's the wrong one. So we can actually shrink this chart down, Ross, and look at this in more detail. But look at how much this has gone up. Basically a vertical exchange or vertical line straight up from $3, $3.50 in January 12th to $3.89 on March 2nd. And now as of recording, we're looking at $5.64 as of 4/6. So basically a straight vertical line up in a short period of time. And this is impactful to beer distributors when it comes to operations, how we, move, as we talked about last week, we move a lot of things around. This is a big expense, but it's also laid in costs on shipping and everything else that we buy and sell too. So to me, this is a tough headwind, but at the same time, most recent trends and what you guys are seeing in the marketplace and working with clients, we're not seeing trends on volume or on sales of beer slow down. Is that fair? We're still kind of holding strong and surviving the challenges right now?
Totally fair. Was actually talking a couple goal setting calls this week, and trends are strong, and it's not just March. We look back, we've looked at year to dates for almost all of our clients, and it's been a great year. It's been off to a great start. Yeah, because I look back and I kind of wanted to see what kind of comps are we looking at. When I look back last year, we really tanked in February of last year. versus 24. January is off to an okay start, tanked in February, started coming back in March a little bit, but this year's just been super strong. So, I mean, obviously February was good because of the bad comps, but March came right back in behind it. So it's been a great story so far, and it's a really good feel moment for the industry. But then this scares me because how long until this catches up, right? I mean, the gas prices, like you said, they didn't just creep up; they spiked up. They jumped up overnight. So the trends that we're seeing in the industry right now, super optimistic, or we were super optimistic of rolling into key selling seasons. But now with gas prices and soon to be, I'm sure, some groceries and stuff going up with what's going on over in the Middle East, catch up. Is that going to happen? And are we going to see that impact right when we get into the Middle East and key selling season? And that reverse is going to come back in. I hope not, but something to think about.
Ross, anything to add?
I mean, do you want me to go nerdy here or not?
For sure.
Nerd out, man.
That's why I threw this in here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's two thoughts here, right? There's the Milton Friedman monetarist idea, which is that money or inflation isn't everywhere always a monetary phenomenon. That was Friedman's quote. And in that theory, people are just going to shift their money, because if they're spending more on energy and logistics, then they'll have less to spend elsewhere. And I tend to somewhat disagree with that in the real world, because I think this is going to be cost or supply push inflation. But I also think that you could lean back into that and say, well, it really depends on what the Fed does, right? Because Fed is letting the inflation creep up, and we're not going to see the next wave of inflation prints until we get more data. So the most recent data that came out didn't include the war. And I think the other thing too is we're kind of lagging too in our data. I mean, I'm seeing soft sales coming out the gate in April. I don't know about you, Mike, but I mean, we're only like 4 or 5 selling days in. So, does 4 or 5 selling days a month make? So I think, to my mind, going back to the predictions episode, I predicted that we would potentially see kind of this melt up. And I think the jury's still out, because we just have to see what the Fed does. Because are they going to let inflation go? Because they have a dual mandate around employment. And if you got their most recent GDP numbers today, they weren't, or was it yesterday or today? I can't remember, but they weren't good. I mean, they revised down to damn near flat in the fourth quarter. So we might already be in a technical recession because the data is so delayed, which is 2 quarters back to back of
negative GDP decline. Yep.
So you don't know that until you're, half a year past it. So we might already be technically in one. So again, I think it depends on what we do with the money supply in response, because you can print more pieces of paper to buy the oil. And we have a nice privilege as the United States that people actually want our paper.
What do you do with a recession and inflation at the same time?
About to find out.
That rarely happens at the same time.
1970s.
Yeah. That would be the last time that it happened in that kind of a realm, right, Ross?
It's the Federal Reserve's worst nightmare, because they're constrained.
Mm-hmm.
You're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you've got stagnant to declining GDP, so recession, and you've got inflation moving away from you. That had more to do with like depegging from the dollar and confidence in the dollar, and that got shored up by Volcker in the 80s. But where we stand now, I mean, I think the Fed hasn't had to deal with stagflation since the 70s, and we're blessed with high degree of efficiency gain, productivity gains. So I think there's a lot of things tugging at this, and it's going to be quite the dance for them.
The other piece of this too is that we're less dependent on oil activities than we have been before. It's as a percent of spend for your typical American from 2008 to 2010 to today. It's less of a percentage of your total overall budget as well. So there's a few different reasons why that is. More electric cars on the road, higher MPG on an average basis, where the cars are more efficient, and the newer cars are getting 40 or 50 miles to the gallon, where it was much less long ago, or 10 or 15 years ago, as I'm talking that today. Those are all things that are net positive, because there's less focus or dollars allocated to the energy consumption on gasoline than there was before. So I think that creates a little bit of slack long term. But how long is that long term actually happen? Are we seeing it play out for the first 60 to 70 days of the year? or the back half of Q1, and then Q2 we kind of run out of gas, and it is literally speaking run out of gas, and then move on to like we got to be smarter with our money.
Yeah, we could be still stuck in that lag window too, where it really just hasn't caught up, right? We're at 30, 60-day lag. And then when we start to see buying behavior start to catch up in the future, that's key selling season. And I don't think people just stop buying beer, but I think they'll definitely change how they buy, what they buy, where they buy, depending.
But I think it always goes back to the old Chinese proverb. We have a couple isms on this, but the Chinese proverb is "we'll see," because again, alcohol tends to be a affordable luxury, and if you're stuck not taking the expensive trip, maybe you'll spend more on alcohol and be at home, right? You're gonna mow the lawn and drink the beer, right? Instead of wasting or blowing all your money on traveling to the Caribbean to be with Mike and eat octopus. It might be cheaper to stay at home and drink an extra couple, have a couple extra cocktails. Again, we'll see, because less travel less money for travel may mean more for affordable luxury. We'll see.
That we will. On that a little bit of the same wavelength, Constellation reported their last quarter earnings. Depletions were up for the first time in quite some time. Curiosity that I've got for both of you: are we hearing like positive vibes on Hispanic consumers moving back into the market, buying more? Is that relieving? They were talking about it a little bit, that it's getting better. Are you hearing any anecdotal stories back and forth from our clients about that, or is it more just, hey, we had bad comps for a while, comps have gotten better? Yeah, maybe the Hispanic consumer has gotten better, maybe it hasn't. And I asked specifically about the Hispanic consumer because their brands are hyper tied to it, and beer over indexes in general across the board to that consumer as well too.
I mean, I think our data is skewed. I mean, in our customer base where they tend to have it, it tends to be higher margin, so it draws more attention with our program. So our data set tends to be a little bit skewed with this one. So take it with a grain of salt there. I think that's the caveat. But I think it's more than just Hispanic beer now. I think it broke through, especially with the whole Bud Light fiasco. That I think it depends on the market. If you're very heavily Hispanic dependent, you probably have softer. But if you're in a market that is open territory, when the Bud Light debacle happened, you brought in a bunch of consumers to try it for the first time, and a certain percentage of it stuck. So I think it probably depends on the region and how dependent your market is on that Hispanic, versus it's a contender just in the market.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, me personally, I'll gravitate towards a Hispanic beer all day, every day. And obviously I'm not that demographic that was described.
Mike, what about you?
I still hear some stories, even where I was in the Caribbean. Lots of stories of ICE being very present down there and doing raids, which I found eye-opening too. But yeah, I feel like it's hard to really tell where that loss is coming from, if it's just a Constellation problem or import problem, or if it's just the consumer. But I do think that, like what Ross said, Hispanic beers are on the rise, right? We've seen that. Yeah, I don't really know.
Nothing specific. Yeah.
Nothing specific. Yeah.
And again, we'll see. I mean, if this summer you can't travel, if you can't travel to Mexico, maybe you have to drink the Mexican beer in your backyard.
Yeah. My attitude.
I mean, also sorry to cut you off there, but also it's really seasonal too. If you think about it, Hispanic beers really tied to nice weather, really tied to kind of being outside, and maybe you're right. If you can't go somewhere, maybe you bring that vacation home to you, and maybe we're just in that time of the year too, where it's just the consumer's not consuming that brand anymore, or those styles.
I mean, to me, the question is always been, how long do you continue to stay and let the new risk, right? It's all risk management for anybody worried about being deported or ICE or anything else. How much longer do you stay doing what you're doing, or do you get more accustomed to the risk over time and you cope and deal with the risk over time? That's been my philosophy about it, that the longer the time goes, the more people are more open to, deal with the risk. And today, right now, with all the challenges that the Trump administration has, from the Minneapolis meltdowns on the ICE features and fun and fiasco they had over there, to now Iran, and then the TSA and the government shutdown, where they repositioned ICE agents in to help the TSA lines out or manage those as well too. Those, the TSA thing is working itself out, but they're distracted. There's a lot more stuff that is being spread around for that, ICE group, than what they ever had before. And that Minneapolis really kind of slowed them down. If they were going to continue to march on, more and more and more raids, I don't think that's the method to the madness they're going to continue to take for the remainder of the rest of the year. So could be a net positive for beer, as well as that whole philosophy or perspective kind of adjusts and changes with everything else that's going on in the marketplace for Trump and what he's trying to get done too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd fade that just because the midterms are here. Trump's out of time, and he's going to get murdered in the midterms.
He needs gas to be back under $4 quickly, and he needs to have affordability done fast. When those are both going to be hard things to be done quickly.
And the ICE stuff is generally not popular. I mean, I think, the vast majority of the country wants to, there's a majority of the country that wants to, wanted the border under control and wanted some degree of enforcing the law, but I don't think the execution has been popular across the broad spectrum of the political spectrum.
Process of the execution, yes.
Yeah, so the electorate is, you don't lean into things that are unpopular going into a midterm. It's just generally not a good idea, or having gasoline as high as it is.
And
we'll see. I mean, he's running out of time to have the greatest economy ever, of all time.
Very much so. Yes, very much so. One other topic that we haven't talked on, but Ken or may not wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. Don't know if anybody's talking about it with you guys. GLP-1, right? Roe, we see Charles Barkley on it. We see Serena Williams on it. They're doing commercials all over the place. For what, better part of the last 3 or 4 years, it's been a syringe product. Before that, it was a niche product that was really, for diabetes and, managing lots and lots of comorbidities. Is becoming much and much more mainstream. And now to your doorstep near you into 2026, it's in a pill form. And have we noticed anybody talking more? Are you guys seeing any personal experiences where, people are using this? Are they even talking about using it? Are people scared to talk about it? Do they feel like they're wrong to even take it? But do we think that this is impacting any trends around beverage alcohol and food in general? I know the food companies, CPG Food, is terrified of this in a huge way. And their little mad scientists in their little kitchens have started to plan out how they're going to get around this and keep us addicted to processed food. But that's their job. Our job is to worry about beverage alcohol.
Make sure they keep drinking beer.
Exactly. Yes. So anything that you guys are hearing, or just any personal opinions you have on the topic? It's been a while since we brought it up, and it's just new that now it's in a pill form. And, every time I turn on the TV, Serena Williams or Charles Barkley is talking about it on a commercial.
Yeah, it's everywhere, right? It went from something you don't really talk about to in conversations now, and it's in the environment. So it's different than maybe 6, 8, 9 months ago when we first started talking about it, where it was like, hey, if somebody was on one, you didn't really share that with your friends. You just all of a sudden say, hey, you look really good. Oh, thanks. Right now, we're seeing all these celebrities pop out and start to talk about it. But I think the scary thing is that, you don't really give up alcohol, and it's not about drinking less. It's about having fewer cravings, really, right? And consuming less overall of whatever it is that you're consuming, which is a different kind of pressure. Not price, not inflation. It's a behavior that could be changed forever. Especially you start changing somebody's mindset. That's kind of what we do for a living, is change somebody's mindset. So if these drugs are out there changing the way that you eat and drink and overall consume things, that mindset could be stuck with you forever, which would be long-term bad for the business, I guess, bad for the industry.
Yeah. There is an element of treating the symptom, not the cause here.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is I don't think it's any secret. I'm not going to put a tinfoil hat on my head here when I say this, that, our food supply in the United States is overly processed and, that's a charitable way to say it. The less charitable way to say it's poison. And these drugs work well at reducing inflammation and offsetting the impact of our less than healthy food supply. It's less of an issue. I mean, if you look at the Amish community, or if you look at the European community, and their food source is different and the process level is different and the need's not necessarily there. So are we, again, I think this has been hugely helpful for so many people that just can't get it down because their gut health and, their inflammation is just, it can't get over it. Can't get past it. And no matter how much any of us try, we can't escape the food system in the United States. I mean, you can shop at Whole Foods all you want, but at the end of the day, you can't escape it. I don't care who you are, unless you move into an Amish community or you buy a cabin in northern Idaho. So I think that, tie it back to our industry, I mean, obviously there's organic ultra, but there's not a lot. I mean, obviously the two-row that we use and the rice is probably manufactured in the United States and probably has a lot of, genetic modification happening. But is there less of a? I mean, nobody's putting yellow dye in beer.
There's very little processed foods in beer, and that whole and most of it is like 4 or 5 ingredients you can all say. So the nobody says that what you put in beer is bad for you. It's a lot of people think that alcohol, or there's been that whole thing of that alcohol is bad for you, right? Which that has kind of subsided, and that whole attitude is moving back to where it was. But I'm with Ross.
But I would argue that if you eat a pack of Skittles, it's worse for you. I mean, if you look at the back,
I think it's way worse. Yeah.
I mean, between the sugar that they use and then the dyes and everything. I mean, shit. I'd rather my liver not work as well than, die of the C word.
Yeah. And all the sugar and over processed stuff, like you're not going to see that level of ingredients in the beverage alcohol side, beer, wine, or spirits. All of it's pretty simple. All of it's pretty easy, and all of it's pretty whole foody as well too. Some of the whatever this or that might be genetically modified, but is that the only problem? Or is like, I'm on a whole anti-seed oil kick right now. Like stay away from that.
Stay away from that stuff
as much as I can. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. But again, it's symptom versus cause. I mean, seed oils isn't everything, and it destroys your gut and your inflammation. And, you take it to the extreme and you may have to take a GLP-1 to offset that. And it's just, it'd be better if we just fixed our food supply.
It's better, probably more costly as well. And who knows? Maybe it isn't. I don't know. But the bottom line, it sounds like maybe it's not negatively impacting beer or beverage alcohol. It's probably not the leading cause.
Or maybe beverage alcohol needs to lean into this and say we're 4 ingredients.
That's a good idea. That's a good point.
Like, why don't we combat the health side of it and say, well, alcohol is terrible for you. Yeah, but at least we have 4 ingredients. You know how to name them.
Yeah.
Like you should put it on the label, 4 ingredients, and you know what they are.
AB did that for a while on Budweiser. I mean, they had a big push on that. How we had a little toolkit we would take around to promos. We'd put a jar of each one of the 4 ingredients on the table.
I mean, I feel like that would resonate now.
Mm-hmm.
It probably more resonation now than ever before.
Everybody should just switch to beer and octopus, and we'll be good.
You go back to ancient Rome. What they drank? They didn't drink water. They drank the wine because the alcohol was a natural disinfectant and a preservative, right? So that's why we don't have to put benzo, God knows what aluminum into this shit to make it last on the shelf.
Because it's already pasteurized.
It's already pasteurized and has alcohol in it.
And shelf stable with the alcohol in it.
Yeah.
I like that, Ross. You got 4 ingredients.
I think we can turn the whole industry right here, right now.
4
we need
ingredients.
We need to get us on Huberman or whoever else is talking about this stuff and talk about how great beer is for your health because it's 4 ingredients.
We just need RFK and Huberman and Joe Rogan and a couple other people, and we'll be good.
Can you reach out, Bud?
Can I reach out? Yes, I can.
Let's have them all on one podcast at the same time.
Same. I'll bring them all on this one, all on Tapped In Pod. If any one of those three guys want to show up on Tapped In Sales Podcast, we're happy to have you on the pod at any
I
point.
don't need my spleen and liver working 100% if I'm not eating garbage.
Oh, I love it. Final thing I had to talk about today, Ross, I thought you would find this as funny. Did you know that there is a index for fine wine, Ross?
I didn't.
So there's an index out there for fine wine, and this is a little off the beaten path for us, tapped inners that are out there all the time. But here you can see fine wine is I got picked this up from doing a little Googling on the internet and looking at things that we might want to talk about. So acting more like a wealth trade here. But look at this, Ross. So there's this Live X or Live X that has got major indices on fine wine 50, fine wine 100. So this is tracking all of the finest wine. And I think their sales, and you can see the trends have not been good. But now all these wealth advisors from the story that I read are all about, hey, maybe now as an alternative asset class is the time to get back into wine. You going to put any of your alternative asset investments, Ross, Mike, into fine wine, boys?
No, I'm not, but I do find it interesting. Every one of those graphs spikes out in 2023, which from an industry, we know what happened in 2023. I doubt that had anything to do with it, but still, it's just, if you go up that entire list, every one of them has that huge spike in 2023.
Don't you think it has to do with the back end of like the demand around COVID?
Yeah, you could probably overlay that with high-end watches and it would look the same.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Because if you look at the high-end watch market, it looks exactly like that. All these people were buying the Patek watches and stuff and Rolexes, and now they're worth half of what they were. I mean, they're coming back slowly. The graph looks exactly like that. Not that I'm into watches, but
it'd be a crazy. We could make a whole episode on that if people left Bud Light during the Bud Light debacle and went to fine wine.
Yeah. How many people actually made that transition? We're gonna move from drinking, Bud Light to $400 bottles of Cab.
Yeah, why not? Anything but AB products at that time, right?
Well, you can see that like each one of the charts, Mikey, had a little bounce on it. Maybe if you were looking for some alternative investment opportunities, this could be your opportunity to get in on a ground floor or just try to catch a falling knife, which might not be a good idea either.
I collect fine wine, but it ain't for investment purposes.
It's consumption. It's got a purpose to serve, right, Ross?
It's got a purpose to serve. Consumption.
That's right. Oh, I love it. Well, boys, anything else we wanted to cover today? Anything else on your guys' mind?
I mean, I hope that what we've been seeing, because, it's made me really happy this year, in the last 3 months, just seeing the trends that are coming out and, the smiles on the clients' faces. And it's been a great year. And I really hope that we're not still kind of in that lag period where this is all going to catch up and we see the complete opposite as we head into the summer selling season.
Maybe as a tease up to a future episode that's coming up, just the sheer movement in demand, whether it be that fine wine graph you showed or whether it be beer, and how that relates to the producer's supply chain and their ability to react to this. I can remember, I can't imagine being a producer with a long lead time and that with port and that wine and that whiskey and that. I mean, obviously in beer, we're blessed that our supply chain is literally, we produce it and ship it in a matter of, a month's time frame, right? Lagers maybe a little bit longer, but we can react and we can carry tighter inventory. So just teasing up where we're going, and I think on a future episode here.
If you're a champagner, right? I think that'd be the way to say that, right, Ross? You're talking about a 3 to 5 years.
It's still wine.
Yeah, and just wine people or making champagne or anything like that. You're talking about a 3 to 5 year run on putting together a plan for your supply chain. So Ross is 100% right there.
Well, here's the map I have on my wall that you guys can't see. There's champagne right there, baby.
There you
Cote de Blanc, best of the best.
go. Best of the best.
I love how we moved the picture, not the camera.
Oh,
Yeah, that would be smarter.
as I was making my point, is like, and we lost Ross for the podcast.
Yeah, that would have been smarter to turn the camera.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, you boys rock. If you like what we're doing, continue to like, listen, subscribe, and share with a friend. I have continued to hear from some fans at industry events that people are enjoying what we're doing. So we'll pat ourselves on the back. That's gasoline that keeps us going. We always love to hear from the fans. If you swing by and say hi to us, we might have something on our hands we can give you. So you never know. Just got to come up and ask and take your shot. So thanks for listening, boys. You guys rock. If you got any questions, comments, please hit us up at info@vxptech.com. That's info@vxptech.com. Thanks, boys, and cheers, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers.